nice people and stuff, but get them in a group and they just turn bloodthirsty.
Well, especially if they have low self-esteem, and this is where they're gaining a good feeling about themselves. They'll go to great extremes to feel that inner satisfaction at your expense.
This is true. I don't doubt that. There's a lot of that. There is. But then also I'm pretty sure that the way they think is that, and I know this for a fact from some of the people that I've come across, and there have not been many, because I don't go around people like that by choice.
Right.
But they believe, they are so mistaken in their outlook that they believe that if they weren't doing it to you, you'd be doing it to them. And they believe that. And that's sickness. That's evil. And you try to talk to them, and it's like trying to convince a drunk he's a drunk.
Oh, they don't hear you.
No, they deny
anything
it.
you say.
Right. It's denial. And that is a bona fide form of mental illness. So the best thing you can do is to distance yourself from these people. Now, what they've done is make it so that you cannot distance yourself from them. And then now you have to, and when you fight with dirty people, even if you win, you get dirt all over you, so then they won, even if you beat their butt. So, it's like, I don't know, it's the human condition. It's something that everyone has to address personally and on their own level. We can get together, we can talk about it, we can propagate the information to people who are interested or maybe undergoing these tortures and not even understanding what's happening. So maybe someone listening to this will be saving their life. And, that's good. Hopefully they'll do the same for someone else.
Oh, I hope so, because this has to get out. Everything is tying in together, and these people need to be stopped. I'm sorry. I know they think they're going to take over, and everyone says they are, and the prophecy says they are, but I feel like I have a job here to let people know what's coming. If we can't stop it, we can at least fight it and make people aware.
There are books, yes, and I don't think they're winning. I think that they had to hurry this plan along really badly because of the net. Once the net became a reality, if they had 20 or 30 more years to do this, they wouldn't need this torture. They wouldn't need this overt activity of stalking and mobbing and intimidation, and other things that they do. They wouldn't need it because they would have been able to do it quietly and slowly. And believe me, my history teaches me that that's what they were doing. And the perfect conquest is one where the conqueror doesn't even understand that they've been conquered. And so they were doing this, and it got so close, Gina. They were so close. And the internet came out, and people were able to communicate. And it was our key. Now, I always like Apple computers, and I don't dislike Bill Gates, but some of the things he did I found distasteful. And a buddy of mine who was a locksmith was talking about computers one day, and he said he was going to get a PC, a Microsoft. And I said, hey, man, you need to think different. You need to get an Apple. And he said, well, what's the difference, And I said, Apple gave us the keys to the stars, and then it got stomped on. And he said, what, we lost the keys? And he was a locksmith, and I said, well, so far it looks that way. And he says, there's only one thing to do. And I said, what's that, man? He said, you got to take the lock. So that's what we've done, and that's what we're doing. And we're picking the lock, and it's popping open, and I don't think they're winning at all. Actually, their constant torture and mobbing and stalking and their frenetic activities are becoming more frenetic daily. While we're on this subject, I want to mention, too, there seems to be a subculture within our culture that has a lot more information on wireless technology than the guy on the street, than you or me. Because I don't use a lot of wireless radio, I don't use a lot of wireless things. So I'm not really up on, I understand a lot of theory and things like that because I read about them, but I don't apply them, you know what I mean? But there's groups of people here that are using radio and other wireless capabilities, and some of them, God help us, are actually operatives of Department of Homeland Security or FBI or CIA or NSA, and they are doing a lot of the gang work, and they are acting as mobile spotters, because the human vector goes hand in hand with this wireless activity that's being used to stalk people with video or audio, because just the people following you around, that's actually a small aspect of the overall stalking and mobbing. If they can get cameras on you in your house, outside of your house, watch you coming and going, and things like that, that just makes you, that they can target you much more effectively. I know this for a fact. And it's kind of been the way with me, because I live so far out, I live so rural, that they've had to do this to be able to do to me, to intimidate me the same way they would be able to intimidate someone in the city or in an urban area. So that's something to consider. And people that are dealing in wireless, not all of them, of course, but they are definitely a subculture within our culture, and they have an advantage, and they don't like other people to know about this advantage, and they employ it for nefarious reasons and for profit. And a lot of the spotters and things like that, they're doing this surveillance mobbing, surveillance stalking. That's the bottom line. A lot of them were working in Tampa, Florida, when I was there for the newspapers there, believe it or not. You know, and you had a crossover there. You had legitimate reporting going on, but then technology caught up with it, and the reporter just didn't have to go and try to find somebody and get a report from them, get a story from them, or, you know, go through the garbage. But they could just put a camera up somewhere, or put a trailing device, a GPS, on somebody's car. Because that technology's been around a long, long time, and most people don't understand that. So anyway, that's something for listeners to understand as well, that, you know, people who are very involved with wireless technologies of all kinds, radios, a lot of those people have formed what we must call adult gangs. And they're doing a lot of nasty things.
Damage.
And a lot of it's for profit. You know, which if you have to choose for reasons, at least it's for profit. You know, it's not just because they like to hurt people. They don't care about hurting people or anything like that. They just want the almighty buck. But, you know, then there's the people that are just sadists, and that's what they live for, is just to see people suffer.
Yes.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of that too, but I would say that the majority of surveillance stalking is taking place through these adult gangs who are very well versed and buy a lot of, and if you notice, everywhere you go in any city, there's spy shops everywhere, and they do a booming business. You know, when I lived in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, back in the 80s, there was 3 of them within, 5 miles of my house, and that's a long time ago. So it's just, I'm sure it's just gotten crazier since then.
Well, I think, and it's easy to get. It's easy to get. You don't have to really produce anything to get this equipment. You just walk in and buy it, right?
Right. No, you don't have to have like identification. Now, in the European Union, they were trying to make it so that people with cell phones that had cameras on them were required to get a closed-circuit TV license, but that fell through. There is a lot of restrictions going on now as far as cameras are concerned, especially in the UK. I just got a report on that today. And it's just something that as time has come, you must be aware of whenever you go out. And the cameras are everywhere. They say in the UK, you can't go anywhere. And then with the advanced imaging technologies available through active auroral / chemtrail occurrences, military classified advanced imaging technologies like tomography and interferometry and acoustic imaging and things like that, then there is no privacy. The ACLU just came out with a new blurb, a new statement. It's called pride. It's just one